Alright, so I have my measuring things: salt, active dry yeast, sugar, bread flour, oil, vegetable oil, and I have the pan for the mixer, a bowl for the mixer, and it has 2 cups of warm water. I'm going to mix actually a pinch of sugar in the water, and then add 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast on top. Okay, so I mixed a little bit of sugar in the warm water. I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast. Just sprinkle it on top. Leave it there for 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll show you how it's supposed to look like. If it sinks in, settles down, then you gotta throw this away and restart. Your dry yeast is not good. So we'll come back in about 15 minutes. So what I like to do is I have 3 cups of the bread flour here in this bowl. We're gonna add more later. Right now I started with 3 cups, and I'm gonna add sugar of 1/4 cup into this, and then I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of salt. Now I want to make sure that the salt does not directly mix with the yeast, so just make sure you never mix the yeast. If you're using instant yeast, then make sure salt does not mix directly with the yeast at the same time. So I'm just putting it on one side. Once I pour this dry mixture into this bowl, then the salt won't directly interact with the yeast before the flour interacts. So there I have the dry ingredients. I am not adding oil at this time. I'm going to do that later. So we'll get back to the yeast later. This looks like it is having some problems, but we'll see, and we still have some time. This is prime example of how it should not look like. So I'm going to have to redo this. So 15-16 minutes of yeast sitting in the water. I think the first one was messed up because it was not hot water, or I did add warm water but the bowl was too cold. So anyways, this is how it looks like. Kind of bubbly. That's what's gonna proof the flour. Right, so all I do now is that I pour the flour in this bowl carefully while holding the camera. There you go. I'll reuse the same bowl for proofing. So now I put this in the mixer. Easy part. Lock it, start it slow, and then I'm gonna get another cup of flour ready. Here's my another cup of flour. And I just mix it slowly. It's gonna be really wet right now. So sometimes it takes 4.5, sometimes 5. So we'll see how much it takes this time. I'll get about a half more ready. see. So this is just mixing right now. The actual kneading is gonna be after it's confirmed to be good consistency. Makes a lot of mess. You could go slow. Alright, so all the flour is mixed in. What I'm gonna do now is just quickly stop it. I'm gonna touch the flour, and it's kinda, it looks pretty good actually. Yeah, it's not too wet. So I'm just gonna restart it and a little bit faster. I'm gonna leave it running for at least 5 minutes. Okay, so we have the dough ready. I'm gonna oil this pan. Using the same pan. A bowl, not a pan. Put oil on it and mix. Make sure the tops and sides are all covered. Then I'm gonna take this. Alright, I'm gonna have to stop this. Alright, so took this out of the bowl, put it down here, and then I'm gonna flip it just so that it gets oil all over. Yeah, flip it again. And then I'm gonna cover it with plastic wrap and put it in the oven, which is not gonna be turned on. It's just warm. I'll leave the light on in the oven. Okay, so as you can see, I have the oven turned on. It's at 110 degrees. What I do is turn it on, make sure it's at 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and then turn it off. And then I'm gonna put the dough in there to rise. Close this up and turn the oven light on. That will just keep it warm enough. And we're gonna leave it there for about an hour and a half. Let's put a timer on for 90 minutes and we'll see. Alright, so it's been a little over half an hour, and as you can see, the dough has been rising. Right, so we have about 30 minutes left out of the hour 30, and the dough is rising. It's almost bursting out. We'll wait another 10 minutes or so. Alright, 20 minutes left, so an hour and 10 minutes, and this thing is bursting out. I'm gonna take it out and we'll see what to do. As you can see, this has doubled well over. Be very careful. This is going to, well, we're gonna have to take the air out anyways, but I usually just use this, cut it in half, this plastic cut in half, and cover the pans later. So alright, so as you can see, it's kind of going down. Touch it and it goes down. Poof. All the air is coming out. Okay, so I'm gonna take it out on this counter, kind of roll it in a log, cut it in half, and make sure they're good logs, and then put them in there. I put parchment paper with a little bit of oil drizzled. All right, be back with the log. So I kind of, punched it in so the air kind of goes out, and then I'm gonna roll it into a log, kind of like this, and then cut it in half. Be back. This is the log. I cut it in half. I'm gonna put it in there. Okay, so we have these two, and I put oil on the plastic sheets. Carefully put these on, but make sure you do not stick it on too much. Loosely, so that once the dough proofs, it'll come up, and it's gonna come up and go past the lid about an inch or so. So just loosely leave it there. Make sure you have oil on these plastic sheets, otherwise it's gonna get stuck. Next time we take this off, it's gonna be very carefully, because we do not want to lose any air after the second proof. And then this will again go back in to the oven, and supposedly 30 to 45 minutes. I put a 45-minute timer, but last time took 30 minutes or less to pretty much come up. So timer 45, enter. So these guys are in. All right, so it's been 40 minutes, close to 40 minutes, and these are really high up now. So I'm gonna take them out, and then I'm gonna turn the oven on at 350 Fahrenheit, and we're gonna cook for about 30 to 35 minutes. Okay, so these things are good. Really carefully take this off so as to not lose the air. If you don't oil them, then they're not gonna work. You don't want to deflate them. Alright, these are off. These are ready to be baked. This one kind of is a little lopsided. This one looks much better. Alright, so the oven is preheating at 350. And once it's done, I'm gonna put these in 30 to 35 minutes. Alright, the bread is in 350. Timer on for 35 minutes, and they're cooking. Is the bread pretty much done? I usually flip it around, which I didn't do this time. So I poke a toothpick, just make sure there's no chunky things coming out. Same thing here. Nothing. It's all dry. Let's take them out and put them on a rack. Wait. Alright, so the oven is cancelled, and I don't know how I'm gonna take this out. Alright, so they're out of the tins. One was easy to take out, the other one was stuck a little bit, so I had to kind of pry it out. Here's the two breads. 1, 2. And then what I will do now is put some butter on them. Alright, so I'm just gonna put a bunch of butter on. It seems pretty, dry when it comes out, but once you put the butter on, then butter is falling down. The butter is on. 2 bread loaves are ready. Butter just the tops. Leave them like this for at least 10 minutes before you cut it.